Okay, welcome. Good afternoon to all of our participants today. Welcome to our Turning Point series. Okay, today session is actually brought to you by Study Hub Student Advisory and JS Study Solutions. So my name is Serena. I'm the student advisor from Study Hub Student Advisory. Okay, and then what we offer, okay, from Study Hub Student Advisory and JS Study Solution, we actually have, we offer services such as student consultation and institution application. And then we have arranged for accommodation, visa and travel arrangement, institution scholarship applications, free career consultations, course counseling and such. And we also arrange for school visits, school talks, and also school events. Okay. So we have offices, we have 7 offices across Malaysia. Okay, we have we have office in Klang, Jenjarum, Mentakap, Sandakan, KK, Seraman, and Seraman 2. So JS Study and Study Hub is actually sister company lah. So if let's say you students is from this area, you can always come to us, can walk into our office, speak to us about your further study. Okay, so for today's session, we have Dr. Chiu. Dr. Chiu, she is a discipline leader from Chemical Engineering and Faculty of Engineering from Swinburne University. Together with 3 students with her from Swinburne University, they will be doing a little bit of sharing. And also we have Mr. Faizin, the senior counselor from Swinburne University. So he will also be together with us during the Q&A session. Yeah. So if let's say you have any question you want to ask regarding scholarship, or you want to know more about what are the engineering pathway after that, what you will be doing, okay, you can just feel free to type in your question at the chat box below. So without further ado, I will just pass the floor to Dr. Chiu.
Hi. Thanks, Serena, for the introduction. Give me a minute. I'll do screen sharing. So do let me know once you can see my screen. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again, Serena, for the introduction, and also to Study Hub and JS for having Suman Sarah here with us today. So hi, I am JJ. You can just call me JJ. So I'm the discipline leader for chemical engineering program here in Suman Sarawak. That string of letters under my name is basically to represent that I'm a chartered professional engineer with Engineers Australia under chemical engineering discipline, and I also hold APAC and also International Professional Engineers Registration. Now, my task today is basically to explain what engineering holds for your future. So, what I understand is some of the audience that I have today are basically high school leavers. So, since we are a little bit shy to explain, like you're in year 12 or year 11, it's fine. So, hopefully, after today's session, you will have a better idea whether engineering is a career path you should consider or not, and whether you want to join us here in sunny Sarawak for your degree or not. All right, so let me start. Now, I find that one of the best way to explain something is to imagine that it's not there. Okay, so let's imagine a world without engineers. What will it be like? I don't know why, but people seems to relate engineers with that orange color hard hat. I'll be honest with you, I'm a chemical engineer. It's just a handful chance that I've worn that hard hat lah. Probably just for fun. Sometimes I wear it, but not that much. Okay, so let us see what the available engineering field and how is life gonna be without engineers. Well, first and foremost, engineers contributed a lot to the advancement of aeronautics, the airplanes. So, be it materials, design, technology, or even the fuel that used to prepare an airplane. So, there's a lot of engineers that come together from different disciplines to ensure that that big bird there, that big metal bird there actually flies off to the sky. Now, what will happen if they were not there? The engineers were not there. Well, traveling by air will look pretty different from what we're familiar with. And the Golden Gate Bridge will definitely have a very different outlook. Probably something like this, not exactly the kind that I want to cross the river with. So we have to thank the civil engineers for this. Amidst the pandemic, I think most of us are now very familiar with virtual meetings, virtual classes, virtual conferences. So this is sort of becoming like an essential item in our daily life, thanks to COVID-19. So if engineers did not exist, then communication amidst the pandemic will look a lot messier. Probably something like this with lots of strings and paper cups. And you can forget about smart TVs, smart homes, and all of those. So entertainment for my kid will probably look a lot like this with pen, papers, and crayons. We may not even have crayons to start off with, all right? So if you have used the road, electronic appliances, rode on a car, ate food, drank water, you have clothes on you today, then you probably have to thank an engineer for that. So with all that said, right, so what exactly is this group of people called engineers? They seem to touch a lot of aspects of daily life. So what exactly is engineering and who are those engineers? So I believe we should get this sorted out before we look into the future perspective of the engineering field. So I'm going to start with explaining what is engineering. On a more formal scale, I would say that it's the application of science to the needs of humanity. So a lot of things that we do day in, day out is basically to make life easier for the general population. Through our application of knowledge, maths, practical experience, and the design of useful objects or processes. So that basically summarize what me and my fellow colleagues in the engineering field do. Okay, so who are the engineers? Well, I like to call ourselves the professional practitioners of engineering. And to engineer basically means that we make things happen. So engineers, we like to coin ourselves as problem solvers. Taking the word of Theodore von Karman, he says that scientists discover the world that exists, while engineers create the world that never was. So what he intends to explain is that scientists tends to focus a lot more on the fundamentals, and their characteristic activities will side towards learning about nature and developing knowledge around it. Engineers, on the other hand, will work together with our scientist friend to apply this knowledge to create new things like new processes, new materials, or new technology. Well, if that's the case, right, engineer seems to be pretty different. But when she say that there's a lot of engineers around, right? So what kind of engineers are she referring to? Or what kind of engineer should you become? Well, something you may be asking yourself if you're at the crossroad of choosing you some of you may have like an idea that engineering may be my cup of tea, but where exactly should I go for? There seem to be a lot of choices. Well, in Australia there's over 40 disciplines of engineering listed. In Malaysia we have about 36, I believe, if my numbers correctly. So then the question is, what kind of engineer should you become? Well, it all depends what do you like, because engineers are generally inventors and problem solvers. Then how do you choose which one you like? Well, there's more than 25 major discipline with various subdivisions. Like I say, Malaysia, under Institute of Engineers Malaysia, we have about 36 disciplines. And the common thing about them is that they each have a base knowledge that can be applied in many fields. But one thing, however, stand out for all these engineers, which is teamwork, the ability to work with different people and different projects, different scenario, different country. For engineering field, one of the most important characteristic that we have is you have to be able to work with other people, because we can only achieve more if you work as a team. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I won't actually go to like 25 major discipline. That's going to be a lot. We'll be here until tomorrow to explain each particular discipline. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the major 4 or 5. Okay, now that we have a rough idea that okay, these are a bunch of people that needs to work together to get things done, then the next question will be, what shall I become? Or like I say, your future matters. So when you choose the engineering, you need to know what you like. So it is not uncommon for a lot of people, because recently what happened is I have a lot of questions from high school leavers is, are engineers replacing themselves because like a lot of things are being automated, there's a lot of robots put in place and all. So it is not uncommon for people to think that engineers may be replaced by robots in workplace. And yes, I agree that engineers play a big role in automating a lot of stuff. Since your future matters, we do want to explore these particular questions before we move any further into talking about an engineering profession for your consideration, right? Now, let's see. Yes, I agree. Automation is important, and the use of artificial intelligence or robotic or automation alongside with various other technologies have improved production, make things go faster, get more works done, which means businesses make more money. So engineers are in this generation are really working on automating a lot of things. If that's the case, then the question will be, are the engineers of this generation working towards killing off job opportunities for the generation of the engineers of the next generation? Well, a recent study by the University of Oxford mentioned that a concept called the technological bottleneck. So there is a bottleneck to this technological advancement, and three factors contributes to this bottleneck, which is creative intelligence, anything that requires creativity, manual manipulation and perception. If this needs to be a human has to interfere, then it will be a bottleneck, or what we call a social intelligence. So if there is any one role that require a high degree of any of these three factor, then there's a high chance that it cannot be replaced or it is not at risk from artificial intelligence or robots. And engineering field is one of them. So since we are here to stay, perhaps we can look at what it has to hold for the engineers of the future. So why do we say that creative intelligence, manual manipulation and perception, social intelligence is important? Is what are the odds that the robots can manage human? At the end of the day, all these are actually, well, computers are human creation. So it'll be quite some time before you get replaced. That's why I'm saying that engineering is here to stay. So let's have a look at what future does engineering hold for the next generation. So what I'm going to do is I've picked the top 5 common engineering discipline based on the Australians' perception. So then I'm going to share about what they have for their future. Okay. So next, let's see. Well, being a chemical engineer, I'm going to start off with chemical engineering. So chemical engineers have long contributed to the development of traditional, non-renewable fossil fuel sources like coal, petroleum, natural gas, and propane. We are known to have very high pay coming from the oil and gas industry, which I don't deny. Then there's a lot going around. Oh, like oil and gas is exhaustible. In the next couple of probably 2-3 decades, it will be gone. Then what will the future chemical engineers do? Well, there's a lot more to what chemical engineers do other than oil and gas. We will, however, be focusing a lot on helping to find new novel ways to generate energy that we need because the general population still requires energy. And then we will also look at maximizing the efficiency of the traditional petroleum refining oil and gas sector, ranging all the way to innovation creation of fuels from renewable resources. We will also see more efficient system for fuel development coming from the work of the future chemical engineers. Then we also project to see that chemical engineers playing a role in advancing biomedicine, perhaps in the area of modernizing disease diagnosis, treatment options, improve safety and efficacy of the drug delivery system, make more powerful and accessible medicine. So why accessible? Now, a lot of work that chemical engineers do is about a balance between efficiency and also costs, because if something is too expensive, then the general community will not benefit from it. Therefore, accessibility is something that we look heavily into. So cost efficiency. Then the next generation of plastic and biodegradable chemical-based material will come from the future chemical engineers' contribution too. So if you decide that chemical engineering is a field for you, then as a chemical engineer, you will help to design and create things that will fuel a better future. You play a lot into fuel area. Then many industries will be open to you and you will apply your knowledge in ways that suit your interests and goals. So that's for chemical engineers. Now, what about civil engineers? We'll be looking at them growing our cities. So the future civil engineer will make larger skyscrapers possible with many more people collaborating and staying in a single place. They will allow for new mode of transportation to be implemented because they need to cater for technologies such as self-driving cars when they develop infrastructure. And we'll also be looking at them making recycling waste and use of resources such as water and electricity more efficient. So as a civil engineer, you will guide the growth of town or city you choose to live in and work in. You will see new types of train connecting people like never before and help transition from petrol to electrical vehicle. So that's something pretty interesting for the civils. Then if you're interested in electrical and electronic engineering, then we'll be looking at you for high powered skills. So we'll be looking at lighter, more portable and better computers, faster and more efficient wireless charging system, new type of electric cars. If I'm going to get electric cars, I want it to be wireless charging, right? So Then next generation of solar technology for greener power system. Those will be things that you will help to power. So it concludes that you will power the world, to be honest. You work with other engineers to make all things modern life require faster, smaller, and better for the environment. Then the mechanical engineers, we'll be looking at them for industrialization and infinite possibilities, like perfecting the form of travel, such as high-speed rail, vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts, machines that harness the power of tides, future factories that make highly specialized tools in more compact and efficient manner, ranging from art to medicine and, well, perhaps even experiments in space. So as a mechanical engineer, you will choose to innovate, be it big or small, human-powered or artificial intelligence-driven, and the machines that make the future a better place will be created by you. And for the robotics and mechatronic engineers, they will be the one that delivers our robotic reality. They'll be looking at designing and building robots that help humans in all all walks of life, provide our nation with the workforce that have more free time because of the increased automation of tasks, and help to keep our cities cleaner with smaller and autonomous waste management machines. So as R&M engineer, you will develop the system that will usher in a new age of humanity. So the dreams of that we see in sci-fi will become science fact in the hands of the R&M engineer. So these are what engineering holds for the future for the main engineering disciplines. So what kind of engineer should you become? Well, I would say that you should first become a recognized engineer. So what do I mean by a recognized engineer is basically your engineering degree, your course needs to be accredited. So why is accreditation important? And what is that actually? So accreditation is basically it's basically an evaluation of an engineering program based on students' achievement, program improvement, faculty, curriculum, syllabus content, facilities, and institutional commitment. Then why do people want to do accreditation? So here in Swinburne Sarawak, we hold a dual accreditation, which is being accredited by the Board of Engineers Malaysia and also Engineers Australia, because Swinburne the main campus is in Australia, so our program comes from Australia. So why do we want to do accreditation? Well, first thing first is it's important for you to graduate with an accredited degree because it's the first step towards your professional registration, as it provides academic qualification for professional recognition later in your career. So you want to ensure that when you finish a degree, you want to be able to register with the statutory board of the country. So in Malaysia, we have the Board of Engineers Malaysia, and in Australia, they have Engineers Australia. So that's why you want to get a degree that is actually accredited by those statutory board, so that later, after you start practicing, you can actually register with this board. So now that we're on Swinburne Sarawak, right? I would like to share a little bit of a short video of our lovely campus. So here's a virtual tour of campus before I continue. Okay.
Welcome to Swinburne Sarawak Campus Tour. Our campus is near the city centre, commercial and residential areas, making Swinburne easily accessible. Let's start the tour with our lecture theatre. It can comfortably sit up to 350 people for a huge lecture. Next, we'll have a look at our computer and science laboratories. As the University of Technology, Swinburne has state-of-the-art computer laboratories helping students gain skills needed for the future career. Our science laboratories are well equipped for students to conduct their experiment in a safe and controlled environment. Not only that, our campus has 46 engineering and research laboratories. Students can explore their research while preparing for the future career in Industrial Revolution 4.0. The library is your one-stop solution to all your studies need. They have resources, facilities, and services meant to ease your learning at Swinburne. The library also has a 24 hours study area for our students. Our campus has two 24 hours computer laboratories that are fully equipped and safe for use after office hours. The multi-purpose hall can accommodate up to 900 people for activity with a large crowd. It also functions as our recreational facilities such as basketball court, badminton court, squash court, and a fully equipped gym located above multi-purpose hall. Students can join sports and recreational club to make full use of these facilities. That concludes our campus tour. Thanks for watching. See you on campus.
So as you can see, our campus is basically a city campus, and we are very close-knit community, so most of us know each other pretty well. So I hope someday you have the opportunity to actually come to our lovely campus and our beautiful city. Now, coming back to engineering. So is it worth it to do an engineering degree? There's a lot of things going around telling people, oh, it's going to be very hard. You're going to have 4 years of dying, So I will explain why it's worth it. So that's the big questions now. Let's hear from an engineer. I'm an engineer. So let's hear, why is it worth it to be an engineer? Okay, first thing first, I would say that engineering pays well. A career in engineering, so why do they pay us well is, well, first and foremost, and the career in engineering actually requires a very unique set of skills. So it's only right that it comes to a competitive salary, as can be seen from the charts here. So where's my chart? There we go. So that's something that I plucked off from PayScale, I think a couple of days back. So showing the average pay of the 4 major engineering fields in Malaysia, Australia, and US. So it's a fact that university graduates with an engineering degree earn at least about 20% more than the average graduate salary. And majority of educational think tanks, blogs, and news portal does rate engineering as one of the top paid degree program. Or to be exact, engineering program takes up about 40% of the slots in top 10 paying major lists. So one can expect also to earn more during your engineering career than graduate in most other majors, because it is a specialization area. So that's why we are professionals. Okay, so first thing first, because you do want to have a degree that actually allows you to put food on the table and roof over your top of your head, right? So that's the first thing. And this is what I like. It's not only a male-dominant profession. So this particular magazine cover comes from the March 2020 edition of Engineers Australia's magazine. So it's a very good illustration of the engineering profession as a whole and its changing demographic in the area. So yes, maybe at some point it was a male-dominant profession. Now, however, more and more women are actually joining engineering colleges, and they're very successful engineers. So women can and should become engineers in this exciting and growing field. So shout out to all the young ladies and young gentlemen out there as well. If you have a curious mind, you love science and maths, and is passionate about helping people, so engineering is definitely a plausible career path for you to actually consider, because it allows you to actually develop solutions to make life better for the community. Well, it offers an excellent career prospect. So why do I say that? Well, engineers, we tend to say that we're creative thinkers, problem solvers, communicator, team players. So it's not surprising that engineers are some of the most sought after people for a diverse range of jobs. So all kinds of businesses recognize that engineers are people that are well educated, they're good at problem solving, and a great person to have in any team, in any industries, to be honest. And the best part is you get a chance to improve the world if you choose to. How would I put it? Words can't actually describe how a person actually feel when you say that, hey, when, let's say if you compliment a civil engineer, wow, that bridge is very well built. Or you tell another person that probably created a new device and say that, hey, that's a very nice device. And you can see them saying that proudly that I created the technology, I made that possible. So if I had a chance to ask an engineer about his or her work, just take note of their face. You will notice that they will beam with pride when they talk about their contribution in creating something new. So that's what we take pride in the work that we do. Then it's a worldwide accepted qualification. So your degree will allow you to propel quite far, depending on how you want to use it. You can travel the world with a career in engineering. Engineering industries are global industries spanning from the US to Asia to Europe. So engineering projects can be all over the world, from meeting customers to investigative field works, all of which are actually important parts of many different engineering jobs. So I would say that you will have a fulfilling career in engineering without borders. And the skill sets are readily translatable from one industry to another, from one country to another. So is engineering in your future? Well, I would say that engineering will set up for professional success. Your entire thought process will change when you actually graduate from engineering school, because we do train students to be more logical. They tend to have more critical analysis skills. Decision-making skills are also improved, and you become more objective when it comes to work. So all the skills are actually greatly needed in professional world in any field. So engineers tend to do better no matter which sector they choose, and they also tend to make good managers too. So all in all, I would say that engineering is the most common degree that allows you to actually make it. If you actually check the Fortune 500 CEOs, right, you notice that most of them actually have their first degree in engineering. Or if you decide, okay, engineering is not my cup of tea, you can do politics, Well, the current president of China, Xi Jinping, he is actually a chemical engineer. So that's a lot more for you to venture if you hold an engineering degree. Now, when you understand engineering, you will see the world differently. Okay? So, if engineering is a possible future path for you, then what's next for you? So if you hold a year 11, like O-level, SPM or equivalent, and you have credits in AMATS or maths, and 2 science subjects, be it physics, bio, or chemistry, then you can consider to join us here in Sunburn Sarab Foundation Study for a year. Then you proceed to 4 years in degree in engineering, or you can take double degree option, an additional year, and then graduate with a double degree and head off for employment. Or you come in, you decide that, okay, I'm going to further my studies. We also offer master's and PhD degree here in Sunburn Sarawak for the engineers. And then if you come in with a year 12 qualification like A-level, STPM, or UEC, then you can join us straight into year 1. Okay. Now, we offer 5 professionally recognized engineering courses here in Sunburn Sarawak, in civil engineering, chemical engineering, electrical and electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, robotics and mechatronics engineering, and we have identical Australian engineering qualifications, both for the undergraduates and also the postgraduate level. So our double degrees are basically civil with business, mechanical with business, or robotics, mechatronics, and computer science. Okay, so that will be something what we call 2 degree all in a 5 years duration. Now, why do you want to consider a Sunburn engineering degree? Well, we offer what we call an engineering common first years. That means you can join us for year 1 and then mingle with other engineers who are all completing the same 8 units. Then while being here, you get to mingle with the classmates and get to know the lecturers, understand more about the disciplines before you proceed on to choose your major. You can still transfer to any branch of the engineering discipline without losing any of the credits you completed in your first year. We offer authentic engineering education. We have a lot of industry engaged projects like final year capstone projects or the other projects that we do within the curriculum. Then our teaching staffs are professional or industry experienced. We have robust and blended learning environment, and we offer what we call an industry immersion program, which means that students can get to participate in an industry project for a full academic year. So that offers you an opportunity to be closer to your potential employer actually. Then we have active research environment with a lot of research collaboration opportunity and networking opportunities. Our graduates have very high employability rate, and we have a MyBeam Satellite Center here, which is the building and information modeling, which is a course that is strongly sought after in the industry here. So that prepares our graduates for the industry. Then we have recent technology and industry focused electives, such as the reason one is we are actually running a IR 4.0 electives. That means students will get exposure to all these advanced units. Then we have both electrical and electronic fields in our E&E program. Then we offer double degree opportunity, and a lot of students are actually award winning. Okay, so we offer dual accreditation. We are accredited by the Board of Engineers Malaysia and Engineers Australia. Then we offer a lot of opportunities for professional interactions and development. A lot of our chapters are award-winning and student chapters clubs as well. Then Double Joy is basically students can choose to actually complete a year in Melbourne via student exchange program at the Malaysian rate for 1 semester. Then we offer alumni discounts and sponsorships for our alumni who wants to continue for postgraduate studies. So we also have, in engineering, we're very proud that we have a very strong teaching team. So we have top 2% scientists in the world teaching into the program, like Professor John Wilson for civil, Prof. Ajay for mechanical, Associate Professor Jaka for chemical engineering, and Dr. Jubair for E&E. So these are top 2% scientists in the world. Then that means you get to learn from the best. And 45 of our teaching staff holds PhD qualification, and 21 of them are actually professional or have professional recognitions or industry experience. That means that, like me, we hold chartered engineers titles or professional engineers title, and we have personal attention to the student with a very good ratio. Then these are some of the professional linkages that we have on campus, like Engineers Australia's chapters are here, IEM, Institute of Engineers Malaysia, IET, IChemE, the UK Institute of Chemical Engineers, we have the student chapter here, just name a few. Then also the ASHRAE, the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning, we have the chapters here. And we also have a lot of industry linkages, which means that we have a lot of industry engaged learning embedded within our curriculum. And yeah, despite COVID-19, we also have a lot of student achievements in last year. So we're very proud to say that School of Engineering here in Swinburne Sarawak is home to the best student chapters in the engineering professional bodies. So our IEM was top outstanding student section for 2016, 2017, and 2020. Our IET was we were the best student chapter award in Malaysia for a couple of years too. And iChemie, the Institute of Chemical Engineers student chapter here, was awarded highly commendable award last year too. So with that, I think enough talking from me. Why don't we hear from the students? So today I have actually invited 3 of our young engineers in the making to share with us their experience in doing engineering here in Swinburne Sarawak. So we have Abdul Kader. He's the president of the iChemie student chapter in Swinburne Sarawak. Hi, he's 8,000 kilometers away from us now. Nicole, the chair lady of Institute Engineers Malaysia student section here in Swinburne Sarawak too. And Eden, the president of the American Society of Heating and Refrigerating and Air Conditioning student chapter here with us. Okay, so hi ladies and gentlemen. Hi, can you test your mic?
Hi.
Hi, good to hear from you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So let me see. I'm gonna ask you guys. Okay, first thing first, why did you choose to study engineering course at Swinburne Sarawak after your secondary classes? Perhaps we let the ladies start first. Nicole? Ladies first.
Hi. Okay, why engineering? Well, to me, a career in as an engineer is interesting and fun, I guess. Then it also involves like a lifetime of continuous learning to adapt the changes in the society and the natural world, of course. Yeah, it often like involves a lot of like working in multidisciplinary, multicultural, multi-site teams. So I guess it's a very worthwhile profession, and the results when you succeed can be really, really satisfying, I think. Yeah.
True.
That's my
I
opinion.
agree.
Yes.
So, Eden, you want to share something? Why did you choose to do engineering course after your high school?
Well, actually, both my parents are teachers, so my first instinct was to be a teacher. But then I realized that I find more fun in playing with stuff. If you see my house, I actually like to dismantle stuff. So if you like to dismantle your laptop, then I think engineering is for you. So,
Okay, that's a good indicator.
So I like engineering because we get to solve problems, we get to see problems differently. You don't just look at a table, you look at the tables, you look at the legs, you look at the bolts, everything. So yeah, it's a lot of things to look at, it's a lot of things to learn, and the world is constantly changing.
Very interesting field indeed. Abdul Kader, what made you travel so far from home to do engineering here in Swinburne Sarawak? You want to tell us where
alright.
you are?
So currently I'm living in Saudi Arabia. So I'm 8,000 kilometers away from Kuching to be specific. And we are 5 hours behind actually. So anyways, going back to your question, at that time, 4 years back, I actually just completed my O-levels. So I didn't know whether I wanted to continue my A-levels or whether I could go for a foundation year in a university. So at that time, actually, my brother was studying electric engineering at Swinburne, but I didn't know much about the university, you know. So after doing my research, I found that Swinburne actually offers a foundation degree in engineering. And I thought that I've always been excited in engineering, as Edwin just said, about problem solving, the ability to work with teams, to achieve a common goal. So I always thought to myself, if not going for foundation, I think it would be a better chance to pursue it other than going for A-levels, which is 2 years. So I decided to go for engineering, and after completing my first year, I pursued chemical engineering.
Okay, nice to know. Okay, so maybe we can invite Eden to share. I know Eden and Nicole is actually coming from Kuching, which is here where Swinburne Sarawak is. How do you feel on our campus? Because we have about more than 4,000 students coming from 40 countries, right? What did you benefit from studying in a very diverse learning environment like Swinburne Sarawak here? So perhaps Eden can start first.
All right. So when I joined, there's a saying here that goes unity in diversity. So in Swinburne, I mean, we're all human beings, so we don't look at people's race, ethnic, or religion. We all come here for the same purpose. We want to graduate, we want to study.
Correct.
Alright, so I think in a good generalized way, personally for me, I have friends from Bintulu, Penang, Miri, Johor. I was taught by lecturers from Iraq, India, Myanmar. I learned things from Australia, Malaysia, and because of engineering, I can apply what I learned worldwide. So I guess you can say that you come here, diversity is important. It doesn't really matter because everybody's the same, everybody wants the same thing. You just have to keep an open mind. If you stay narrow-minded, you won't really survive much. Not in Swinburne, not in the world, not anywhere. So yeah, diversity here is really, really important.
Okay. Nicole, what about you? How does it feel to actually study in a very diverse environment like what we have here?
I do agree with Eden actually, like about the culture. I mean, knowing like different perspective, like we also meet like foreign students from different countries, foreign lecturers from different countries. So I think we would be able to learn more of their diverse culture to that send their way of life. Okay, we could also experience their different mother tongue. Like whenever we talk to them, the different slang, we get to know all the different slangs and like how do they really speak? How do they really speak and like the slang and stuff, and like really interesting to know. And of course, like different kind of food. Whenever we talk about food, we just say, "Oh yeah, I do." I like
nights, everyone.
This. Yes, exactly. Like good food gives good life.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. I mean, like it's a very. I saw these quotes like say, if you're not supposed to have like midnight snacks, then why is there a light in the fridge? So I mean, like, so really good food gives good life. So coming back to this question, so I think I really salute those international students, foreign students coming to a foreign place such as Kuching. So I think this would be a very grand adventure for them. It's very adventurous. So we could also learn and see how do they really adapt in a different place, and from language barrier probably to unfamiliar food as food everywhere. So yeah, that's what I mean.
So it's like getting to know a different country but in your own homeland, right?
Yes.
I know Abdul Kadir likes to ask sometimes, because I teach him in class, then he likes to ask me about Chinese words. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's very nice because the environment here allows us to actually get to know a person without looking at the color of the skin or the country of origin. So I like that here actually a lot. Abdul Kadir is in 3rd year of chemical engineering, and Eden is in final year of mechanical engineering, right? Can you share with us some of your learning experience on our campus here?
Yeah, sure. I would like to start. So as a chemical engineer, I actually learned the best of everything: physics, maths, chemistry, along with using the engineering laboratories and the engineering softwares. So speaking of the engineering laboratories, I think that it's one of the most exciting and fun aspects of my learning experience here in Swinburne. So every semester we would be exposed to new labs, whether it was the science labs, for instance, for our chemistry labs, or whether it was the engineering labs. So we would be given the ability to play around and design our own experimental procedures to actually achieve a desired outcome, while under the supervision of a lab instructor, so we don't burn down the university, obviously. But other than that, I really enjoy seeing the application of our theory, and it really has helped me to absorb all the knowledge that we've been taught, seeing it applied in the different labs. Yeah. And other than that, I really enjoy the engineering softwares. So, before joining chemical engineering, I always thought, chemical engineers, we wouldn't code, that's for the robotics, or that's for different majors. But I was introduced to MATLAB, which is a coding language. But fear not, when the softwares are implemented in our assessments, it's actually pretty fun and interesting.
Yeah.
And you get to understand it much, much better. Yeah.
Correct. Eden, what about you? Do you want to share something from the mechanical engineer's perspective? How does it feel to actually study here, your learning experience?
So I think I will share a little bit from my foundation, because I'm sure everyone here, when you join, you're going into foundation, right? So I'm coming from a Malaysian syllabus background. So I have my SPM, just like you guys. So adapting to Swinburne when your foundation is really a new experience. All right, you have friendlier lecturers. You have your own incentive to work harder, because if you don't work harder, you fail, and you fail, you lose your own money. All right. So you want to work harder. In SPM, people spoon feed you information. They give you the answers. They guide you. Here, you have to work on your own. You learn to work on your own. And then if you cannot, you depend on your peers to help you, to guide you. All right. So I have a lot of friends here, but so when let's say we have a final exam, we study together. Before we study, we eat together. So here you get to mix around, mingle a lot, right? In SPM, in Malaysian syllabus, you just have half a day. We tend to spend the whole day together. Just not during this COVID period.
Well, we spend a lot of time online together. So what I would say is that what you're telling us is that when you're clear about your direction, you do a foundation of engineering or science with us, then you are actually a lot more focused, because then the syllabus are already filtered out, and those are the areas that you need to focus on. And you get to start to adapt to university culture earlier as compared to doing the conventional public exams. Am I right?
Exactly.
Thank you. That's a very lovely experience to share. I came from A-level, so I sort of actually missed that. And when I started year 1, it was tough, very tough. And syllabus is already much harder. So I think a foundation year will actually be very useful to actually adapt to a lot of stuff. Let's see. Okay. Now, perhaps we can hear from our lady, Miss Nicole. In your opinion, how has your learning experience in Swinburne actually helped you for your upcoming future career as a civil engineer?
I would say Swinburne really helped me a lot in paving the way for my future engineering career, because the course itself is in tandem with the future needs of the industry. It prepared me to understand both theoretical and practical aspect of studies and work. So yeah, my lecturers are all very experienced and passionate in teaching us and guide us. So I could really, I could always approach them whenever I face some difficulties, or anytime I want, I would say. They're really, really friendly. They're really, really friendly.
A lot of open door.
Not during the weekends, not during the weekends. And so they really motivate me to really improve myself and ignite the passion of learning. Yeah.
That's very good to know. Abdul Kadir, you want to share something about your experience?
Yeah, sure. So as Nicole just said, we usually have industry-based assessments that really help us to understand the application of our knowledge. So these assessments would usually give us a real problem in the industry and would ask us to use critical thinking and analyzation to tackle the problem and to give a reasonable solution to that problem. So this really helps us to hone our skills to think outside of the box and to think, why are we learning this, or what's the reason behind all of this knowledge? And other than that, in engineering, we also have many group-based assessments where we are put together with random students that we might not necessarily know, but this is to prepare us for the real world when we go out, as we don't get to choose who we work with. So through these group-based assessments, we actually get to hone our skills, our soft skills, such as our communication abilities, ability to work with people of different backgrounds, our leadership abilities, and so on. Yeah.
Good to know. There's a lot of opportunities for you to actually practice your technical skills, but also your transferable skills, which is actually quite valuable. Couple of years down the road, when you're actually moving towards management level as you practice. Ethan, what's your say on this?
As a mechanical engineer, it's a very broad field. So Swinburne, the course they provide, the units, we call them unit subjects. They provide the very baseline for us, right? So Swinburne do make it compulsory for us to take internship. So when you take internship, you start to learn that everything in the industry is different from what you're learning. And everything you're learning here in Swinburne is different from what you're learning in SPM. So you think of it as levels and levels of going up. So what we are learning now is the very surface of what the industry wants. And when you graduate into your career, then you start to learn more.
Yeah, that's good.
So I guess it's safe to say that what we are learning is the baseline. Then it's up to you to build upon this baseline.
Okay, that's very good to know. It's good to know that we're actually paving so you guys can actually translate nicely into industry when you start practicing. I think the next question will be, this will be the last questions looking at the time that we have, but I think it's the questions that a lot of the potential juniors will be very interested to know. As we all know, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are all somewhat forced to push forward all this blended learning. So Swinburne is actually promoting online learning, right? So would you mind to share how was your online learning experience as a student? Like, what do you like about it? What did you find challenging, you know? Random pick, who wants to start first?
I'll go first.
Sure.
All right. So online learning. Okay, where do I start? So I actually enjoy the fact that we have blended learning mode right now. It's because for me, staying in Saudi Arabia, different time zone, it's very hard for me to attend the Malaysian classes. If it's in the morning at 8 a.m., for example, it will be 3 a.m. my time. So it would be very hard to attend. But
Yes.
Fortunately, thanks to blended learning, I could just watch the recorded classes, or there will be pre-recorded videos that I can refer to at my own pace. Well, this depends on your self-discipline at first, but after time, you get used to it. And I really feel like this mode gives me the flexible timing when I want to study rather than going to conventional classes, for instance. So I believe this is a very nice option to have nowadays. And also through our Canvas learning management system, we actually have a lot of perks or like features that help us to keep up to date with our assessments and give us reminders. And so I really enjoy these features that really help to support my online learning. So it's not so bad as you think, it's actually good. And for the challenges, I would say I really miss the face-to-face. I would say that's the biggest challenge for me because I really miss seeing my peers and my teachers face-to-face.
Yeah.
What can we do? It's like pandemic, right? Yeah.
Yes. Your safety comes first.
Exactly.
Good to know that the teaching platform is actually that useful. Nicole, what about your take of this?
My learning experience would be like it's very exciting initially because like it's a completely new experience for me, as all this while we were like doing all the physical studies, which now had been changed to online ones. So what I really like about it would be like the sense of flexibility, like what Abdul Khabar had mentioned just now, because like the flexibility, especially in terms of time management, I would say it reduces my like. Okay, the thing I hate the most was like traveling time, the traffic jam. The traffic jam is crazy.
True.
So, yeah, so I can
You
have
an
not
extra
to worry
hour or
about.
two every day, right?
Yes, exactly. I do not have to spend my time worrying about okay, this is a peak hour. I must leave early for my and the other commitments or anyone. So neither do I have to hunt for parking space in Swinburne as well, in the campus. Parking space, we all know we have limited parking space here. So yeah,
The universal problem
really like
with
this.
all universities, yes.
So yeah, another thing is like the self-paced learning, I would say, is another added point for this online teaching. As a student, we can always like revisit to the study materials, online lectures, online tutorials. We can also work through all the lesson plan on our own pace to ensure that I really understand the subject before moving on to the next chapter.
That's nice to know. Eden,
Then
what
the
about your take? Yes, challenges.
No.
Yes, Nicole, you were saying. Sorry.
Distraction, I would say. Distraction for the social media.
Flexibility comes with a price.
Yes, I know, right?
Eden, what about your take as a mechanical engineer? How's your experience on online learning?
Very simply put, when it starts off, it's very difficult to adapt. But once you slowly get used to it, you start to use Swinburne's tool. Swinburne actually provides you Microsoft Teams for free, so we use it for our classes. And then we do asynchronous learning and synchronous learning. So I'm sure all of you here, you use Google Meet before, so it's exactly the same, just that Swinburne staff are more adept to using it, so it's a faster transition to technology. Obviously, we all miss the feel of classrooms. So I guess it's just different. You don't have the human interaction. So we try our best. We study on our own pace.
Have you actually tried we are transiting some of the classes back on campus, right? Have you guys actually had the opportunity to come back recently? Not yet. No more lab based, I guess.
I believe we have our labs because we're final year, so Swinburne actually opens labs to us, right? We
Yes,
have our
correct.
lab session next Monday. So then it'll be fun.
That will
I
be a
hope.
good opportunity to come back. A lot of changes on campus. We have recently undergone some major renovation, so things look pretty different. Okay,
Just
so
wait for me.
we will wait for you to fly in, Abdul Kader. We will wait for you to commence. Okay, so I'd like to thank Nicole, Abdul Kader, and also Eden so generously sharing with us their experience here today. So I think with that, we are almost at the end of our presentation. So let me see. Okay, I think we are ready for the Q&A. Faizin, do you want to continue from here?
Yep.
Sure, JJ.
All right.
Serena, you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay, just now we open up this session for Q&A. So student, if you have any question, please don't be shy. Feel free to unmute yourself to ask your question. Okay, if let's say you are shy, then you type in at the chat box, then I will try to attend to all of your questions. I mean, I will try to read it out, then Faizin and Dr. Chiu will try to attend to your question. Okay.
Thank you, Serena. So I think while waiting for our dear students to ask us any questions, I actually have prepared some frequently asked questions about the program of the engineering program that we offer here in Swinburne. So if you don't mind, I'll just go through this very quickly while we wait for your question to come in, yeah? Okay, so I'm just going to show all of this. For those of you who are new to Swinburne, I'm sure some of you have seen us or have heard about us before, but for those of you who are new, I would like to just do a quick who we are and what we do in Swinburne. So basically, Swinburne Sarawak is a branch campus of Swinburne, Australia, back in Melbourne. We have been in Malaysia for the past 21 years this year. So we celebrated our 20th anniversary last year. And at the current moment, the good thing about our branch campus is that we do share the same ranking as our home campus in Melbourne. So we are one of the top 1.5% among the world's university. All right. And as JJ has clearly mentioned, that our graduate employability is also quite good. This is thanks to the many works that both the university do and also our students do as well. So without the students, we wouldn't be able to achieve these statistics here. So basically 95% of our graduates are hired within the first 4 months of graduation. So I think that is a very good achievement to have. JJ also mentioned that in engineering, the ratio between staff and student is 1:15. But as a general, because we have also other programs offered by Swinburne, such as business, design, computing, and science. So the ratio between staff and student is 1:18. So this gives you a very personalized experience in Swinburne. All right. And our students from statistics as well is hired by the world's top 100 companies. So you will have students working in places like Petronas, Shell, H&M, and many more, right? So these are all the big names of companies out there. So the first thing that I would like to let you guys know is about entry requirement. Of course, this is very important. So for those of you who are just finished SPM, the requirement is very minimum. It's just 5 credits that we need from your SPM. But we do look into a few subjects in your SPM as well, including maths plus 2 science subjects. So as long as you have 5 credits, including maths plus 2 science subjects, then you are able to go into our foundation program, which is a 1-year program, right? But if let's say you come from qualifications such as STPM, UEC, or A-levels, then you can see all the entry requirement in the screen here as well. Like for example, if you're from UEC, we need 5 Bs, but we need you to also have a B for maths and physics or chemistry. Okay, so these are all very important prerequisites. And on top of these requirements, we also need to look into your English language requirement. So these are also quite important. So if you need more information, I believe our friends from Study Hub and GIS Study are able to explain more to you later on, or you can always visit our website to get more information as well, right? So moving on. So the next question is, what about fees? How much do you have to invest in an engineering program in Swinburne? So if let's say you are Malaysian, as you can see, M represent Malaysian, I represent international. So as a Malaysian student, you'll be paying roughly about 18,000 for foundation and roughly between 31 to 32,000 for the degree program a year. So if it is a 4-year program, of course, you have to times it by 4, right? But the benefit about studying in the Kuching campus is that our fees are all counted in Ringgit Malaysia. If you do happen to do the same degree in Melbourne, Australia, then you have to times it by 3 because the Australian dollar is stronger than the ringgit, all right? So that is the benefit of you to study in the Kuching campus. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that you will get the value for the money that you have invested, right? And you will never waste any money here because it is an investment for your future. So how about scholarships and financial aids? What do we say about that? The slide here is a little bit laggy. Let me just go back. All right, hold on, yeah. Oops, sorry about that. So let's go back again. Okay, so this is just a rough idea of how much you will get in the foundation and the degree programs for our internal scholarship. Of course, in Swinburne, we have internal and external scholarships. So for foundation, you can get up to 12,000 ringgit worth of scholarship, meaning to say that is pretty much about 65% of the total foundation fees. And for the degree, you can get up to 41,000 ringgit. That's a lot of money. You can buy a kanchiao with that money, right? So there is 1/4 of the fees for the degree if you are an international student, of course. So more information is available at the link here. So if you have the time, you can always scan this QR code right here. And last but not least, of course, I would like to also share with you the next intakes for the university, right? For the foundation, we are currently in April intake, but we do have August and October as well. Similarly, for degree, we have the August intake and also the September intake for engineering degrees. So I think that's pretty much it from me, Serena. Do we have any other questions from the floor?
Yeah, so far, actually, there's one student asked, what about automotive engineers? Just
Yeah.
now during Dr. Chu's
Dr. Chu,
session.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Dr. Chu can answer that question.
Mute first. Okay. Say again, you were asking about automation engineering, is it? Serena, can you repeat the question again?
Oh, so automotive engineers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what about automotive engineers?
Automotive engineer, we do not offer automotive engineering here in Swinburne, Sarawak. But if you're interested, then a good first degree to start off will perhaps be mechanical engineering. And then you can proceed on to a specialized second degree at a later time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Is there any more questions from students? You students can ask any question related to engineering.
That question just now is from Arisna, right?
Yes,
I
correct.
see. Yeah, I do understand where the question comes from because there's a lot of confusion between mechanical and automotive. And also aeronautical is also another area that always got asked when we speak about mechanical engineering. That's why.
Yep. So actually, mechanical engineering is a broader one, and it's actually a very good first degree to start off with, because what happened is, unless you are very, very, very sure that's the specialized area that you want to go in, and that's the area that you want to practice for the next 20, 30 years of your career path, then if not, you can start with a broader degree. Then you can work in that specialized area, find the first job in that area, and decide whether that's a cup of tea or not. So if you hold a broader degree and you find that, who knows, that when you start practicing, okay, I'm sorry, that is not actually my cup of tea, then there's an opportunity for you to actually look into a different area. So that's the good thing about having a broader first degree. So if you want to consider that option, then I will say that a mechanical engineering first degree will actually be a very good option. Then you can top up with a second one once you're very sure that that's the field that you want to practice for the next coming decade of your career.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Chiu.
Welcome.
Okay. Any more questions? Yeah, just feel free to type out your question.
Yep. So please feel free to fly in any questions you have. We'll be happy to answer them wherever we can. Shall I stop screen sharing first?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so we don't take up too much bandwidth. If you're a little bit shy to actually speak up, it's fine. You can just type now, or if you don't have any, you can always contact JS Study at a later time if you have any questions that you want us to answer. Perhaps something popped up at a later time.
Seems like no question for the
I
moment.
guess everything is clear, yeah, guys.
Yeah. In that case, then maybe I'll just play a video about engineer from Swinburne University. Then if you guys have any question, you can just stay back to ask.
Okay.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you, guys.